particularly teaching that taught by the Gyabji Dongyal Rinpoche, one of the great masters and teachers in the 20th centuries. So this great master taught varieties of teachings that all tells how to practice of from the Theravada teachings, all the Vajra teaching or the Dzogchen teachings, plus also how to be like good conduct, how to be a person, how to be more kind of friendly, nice, stay in the public and in a group, more friendly environment, create a harmony and peace also, something that which is good for us or one's own self, good for the others. Also, he always give those instructions of that in a way, how day-to-day behaving activities of the human beings, in societies. And a reason in the teaching always said that because when you have the good foundation of the human beings, that is really the very foundation of the Dharma. And from there, then we move to the Dharma. And so what is really the human tradition, good human tradition is the staircase to the enlightenment, to the liberations. So therefore, it's so important. Generally, all the Buddha's teaching, for example, all those Vinaya rules and guidelines is very much based on the human traditions, how to be good in decent persons, cooperative, more simple or humble, more friendly environment that really Buddha taught. That is what, and then more glorified, more pacifically to active, pointing out and instructing how to behave of our body, speech, and then of course finally is the mind. So that's what really it is. So his Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche also taught all those very similar ways, exactly what the great master Buddha Shakyamuni taught, as well as Nagarjuna taught, and all those great masters of the India and the Tibet they taught. So that's what our generally his Holiness Dongyal Rinpoche or Gyabji Dongyal Rinpoche taught. But this time particularly we're going through is like particularly teachings on how to practice on the hermitage or the day-to-day lives. That's what really like in the teaching, that it very so condensed, very precisely and more simple, and something that not too many many pages of books and all that, but simple word, so that we can apply that. That's what it is. So now that in that way going again, of course we all know that I've been talking, you also reading all that book. So that's but again to do this, and the teaching always said we reactivated our beautiful motivation and intention, and that is really now we're going to start again. It's not just we reactivating our motivation just now, but if we have good practitioners, really we should do that always as much as we can do. The day we wake up, day we go, or time we go to the bed, we train. Even during in the midnight when we wake up, we can think of those, reflect as much as we can. Then really we are keeping in the course, and it's so good, so good and so powerful and so beneficial. So that, and again, of course, particularly when we're studying, contemplating, and meditating and practicing, then motivation is so important. So with those understanding, we activated motivation and increase the motivation of the joy and appreciation and the bodhicitta, and then devotion or the Vajra teachings of the purities. So with that, now we go as like what we summarize or the frame of the His Holiness or Gyabji Dongyal Rinpoche teaching into 3 frames. So the first noble, middle noble, and the concluding noble. And today we are going to go directly to the middle novels. The middle novel is the according to bodhicittas and the actualizing bodhicitta. That is really actualizing bodhicitta. Now we are, of course, we have you have the beautiful motivation, beautiful strong establishment of the intentional bodhicitta. Then now we're going to actualizing bodhicitta, And actualizing bodhicitta, there is a numerous way to actualize the bodhicitta, but in the teaching, Buddha teaching said that all the activities can summarize in these 6 paramatas. 6 paramata is the summarize all the activities of the bodhisattvas or bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is activity, bodhisattva practices. That is the 6 paramatas. Among 6 paramatas, today we are going to the 3rd paramata, which is the patient paramata. And the patient paramata, again, the nature of the patient paramata is not disturbed. That is the inner teaching, not disturbed. Not disturbed, that is the nature of the patient paramata, we can keep up. That is really the nature. Together with that, in the teaching said, not replying that. That means not disturbed, but same time not replying. The next one is what in the teaching said, not holding that ill thoughts, or what that happened, not holding, let it go. That is really important. Or another word, maybe resentment, not keeping the resentment, let it go. Those are the quality of the patient. Now the patient itself divided into 3. First is, as I will translate yesterday or trying to before day before yesterday, first one is patient for the harm doers. Or I also sometimes translated never mind. Never mind the attitude of any problems or the trouble comes. Never mind the attitude. But we also translated as patient for the harm doers. In a Tibetan word, what is it? Nozila Chema Nyamba Zoba. So, patient for the harm doer attitude of never mind. That is what it really is. Nozila Chema Nyamba Zoba. Now, harm doer, when we start thinking, we all went yesterday, so I'm not going too much on this, but harm doer looks like kind of big and strong, kind of gigantic harm doer. But this harm doer, of course, that is also harm doer. But harm doer is something really also start with is simple. Simple. Harm doer is both sides, from other out and as well as from in. Or another word, as I use the word, subject and object. Harm doer is talking about generally about the mind. If we start talking of the fundamental source of the harm doer is from the mind. So therefore, every subject is our mind. When that attitude of the ill thought or uncomfortable thought or agitations, irritations, all kind of annoyances, when it started, that is the sizzling of the anger. Anger, that is sizzling. But every good practitioners, when that arises, as happening and catch by the mindfulness, immediately trying to liberate it. Whatever technique you use, whether the techniques of the general Buddha teachings, or the Vajra teachings, or the Dzogchen teachings, whatever technique, just really can try to eliminate it, uproot it. That is the best patient. That is the best patient. You didn't let it come out of control. That is a sign of good practitioners. Sign. What for that reason, what a great master Padma Samye says, if when the emotions arise, if immediately catch or antidote, immediately catch that right that moment when the emotions are arising, that is good practitioners. That is. But when the emotions, the negative emotions are arising, and antidote didn't catch that immediately, then what's the point of the practices? We lost the identity of the practices. Practice. We're practicing, meditating of the Buddha teaching, trying to be calm, peaceful. And that's what in the teaching said, do not avoid all the negativities and actualize, practicing all the virtues, discipline one's own mind. This is the teaching of the Buddha. So if somehow we went under the control, manipulations of the negative emotions, then we become really the weak practitioners. Weak practitioners. We didn't. And for those reasons, Great Master Padma Rinpoche said also in the teaching said, defining moment of the good practitioner and the not practitioners is when the emotions are arising. Good practitioners will immediately handle that moment. But weak practitioner, then it comes out of control. Then it according to degree, it makes mess. So therefore, this what's called the patient for the hum doers. Patient of the patient or the skill, the techniques of to the hum doers of our mental attitude immediately recognize and liberated. That is excellent. That is the best. Then also patient for the others when they did, which means it's not kind of hum doers coming from outside. Day to day our lives, when we together with our friends, family members, also patient. That is what really is teaching. So whether we are outside in the world, whether we are inside of the house, room, we always patient is so important. It's true. The weakness practitioners can catch that. Always kind of when under the control of the negative emotions. But this is good practitioners catch that, and with my mindfulness, and then immediately is liberated. So that is what really is known as patient of that never mind, patient of the never mind attitude for the harm doers. That whether it's big and small, whatever it is, that trying to be more patient. And then, as in the teaching said, also when that happened, even that happened due to the weakness of practitioner, but not holding too long, that, or that ill thought, or resentment thought, holding too long, then it is really spoiling. Instead that if we can do, according to the teaching, recognize and feel kind of like some degree of that I didn't do the right and wholesome, and do some practice of the Vajra Sattvas, immediately purify that shadow or that scar and negativities. And pray to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas that never again happen. Please bless me, that may this not happen again. Or please bless me that I have the strength to prevent it and liberate it right at that moment, or right at the source of the moment it arises. If we do those are known as the practicing the Dharma, which is very good. And this patient is, again, I said so many times, and you all know, patient is the backbone of the 6 paramatas. Patient is the backbone of our practices. We need this patient. Without the patient, we become so feeble. Because samsara has so many challenges. This is not just for one time, a short time, but that goes on and on. That's why, for example, name of the or title of the Bodhisattva practitioner known as Bodhisattvas. Because of this samsara situation, bravery for the enlightenment. To become the bravery means courage, confidence, commitment, and never mind attitude. Strong and dense and powerful and with the determination. Then the patient comes. Really quite good. Good. And so that is my really talk about the first patient. Patient, which is Nobzila Jimanyambazoba, or patient for the hamdos. That first. Now this second and third are more personal level, more personal patients, personal level instructions of courageous. That means, person means in this case, the practitioners. We all as practitioners, we are all the follower of the bodhisattvas and the Buddhas and bodhisattvas. Therefore, to follow following the bodhisattvas, then we should have all these next two different passions, one after the others. And this generally, of course, all connected. Is not something completely different from each other. But primarily, this second and third is for the practitioners. And the second is what is known as the patient for the practicing Dharma. Dharma. So that is practicing Dharma, the teaching of the Buddha, or practicing 6 paramatas. So we need patience to do practice of the 6 paramatas. Or we have to have patience to practice, such as practicing the Dharma. Dharma. That also means we should always bring, if we can, we bring the practice of Dharma as one of the priorities. When we make the list of all our day schedule or lifelong schedules, what sometimes we call prioritizing. Many times our Dharma practice is almost in the bottom of that. And how? We say, if I have time, if it's good time, I'll do the practices. That means, lifelong, our activity, we're not really keeping the practice of Dharma as one of the priority of the practices. Or even even one of those. Kind of like, if we make the list, as I said, almost in the bottom. Bottom then. And then we need to come also in the bottom about how much we spend the time to the practicing. And how much we spend the time for all the other chores and our activities. Again, is bottom, almost in the bottom. Our majority part of the time we spend it for our samsara mundane activities. Of course, which is important, which is kind of stay on the front row. So it's important. But it's all in even in one day, Dharma practice is in bottom. In just a short time. Many times we're talking half an hour, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 40 minutes. We're talking. That is. And then, but we're expecting Dharma practice kind of getting so much kind of benefits. Result we like to get more than what we spend the time and the effort and our heart to the Dharma we like to be. Almost we could become kind of like very kind of mean and like to get big result by the practicing of the 15 minutes. Big result. This is not exactly, really. Because we're trying, what we were doing, trying to do, practice according to the teaching. We're trying to reverse our habit patterns. That's what we're really doing practices. not just reverse it, we like to purify our habitual patterns of the negativities. We have two, I say use that. We have like spiritual habits and the mundane worldly habit. Among that two, which is more? We have mundane worldly habit more than the spiritual habit, because we spend more time for the worldly concern. And then, because of that, then it's known as ego clinging, self-importance. All those are, according to Buddhism, is mundane, is world, is samsara. They are the principal pillar of samsara, or the ego clinging is a pillar, the solid pillar of samsara, self-important. We spend more time to serve the ego clinging than the egolessness. Or even not maybe mention, not even egolessness, but kind of like more thoughtful, more kind of like sensible to kind of more thought for the others, or thinking of all the others. How much really we spend the time? I'm talking about the mentally. How much we spend the time? If we say like 100%, maybe we spend for the spiritual or Dharma, maybe only 20 minutes, 10 minutes. The 80%, 70% is at mentality of the samsaras. So, therefore, we have loaded of the habit patterns of samsara. If we put in a scale of the habit pattern of the samsara and the spiritual habit patterns, or Dharma habit, it put in a scale, that samsara habit will go up so much, and the spiritual Dharma habit is so low, it's small. It's just a scale, really, just almost like what's called 80 degrees or 90 degrees makes a difference. All that happened. So therefore, this is the one they call this samsara is heavy. It's true. Our creation of the habit is really mad heavy. Now the practice Dharma, we have to reverse that. According to habit level, as well as our momentarily mental levels, or moment-to-moment mental levels, we like to reverse, we like to clean, purify. So what does that mean? That means we like to purify the habit patterns of the all 5 or 6 poisons. Purify ignorance, attachment, anger, jealous, hatred thoughts, doubt and hesitations. All those we really like to purify. We like to put more loving kindness, compassion, and wisdom, joy and appreciation, kindness, respect, more harmony. Those we like to really bring up more, bring more. The detachment, openness, we like to put more. So to do that, then that's what we need, the courage and confidence. We need patience. We need to continue patient. And when we do this, reversing those habit patterns and purifying the habit patterns is not always easy. There's so many obstacles, so many hindrances comes one after another. Even in a short time, if we pledge it to do the spiritual practice or Dharma practice, almost many times we have to miss that opportunity and miss out and do those all the other samsara joys and habits. So that is then we become the weaknesses. Our passion and the commitment is kind of almost demolishing. Therefore, we have to have really strong courage and commitment, confidence to do practices. His practice is not just for only these short-term purposes. It's not like kind of cleaning up the what's called yard, or not. It's not just cleaning up the garages. It's cleaning up all our messes of the so many lifetimes. Therefore, we should take more kind of strongly and wholehearted way to practice the Dharma and have courage and commitment. Put this, trying to push up this practice Dharma on the kind of our priority list higher and higher. Higher and higher, not in the bottom of the lists. And whatever we committed, for example, during the daytime, for example, 1 hour, half an hour, whatever practice, we committed trying to keep that practices. Practice, trying to keep that, not just miss out that. Miss out and then just kind of jumping to something else. Trying to really maintain that. That is known as commitment. That's what we built up our systems, traditions. We line up ourselves in that line, which is really, according to the teaching, is so important. And so, the practice, patient for the practicing of the supreme dharmas. Then in the teaching said, what? For example, larger level, for example, all those great masters, even the Buddha Shakyamuni, when in order to reach the enlightenment, it's not just he got, according to the teaching, Buddha accumulated all the merits for 3 countless eons. He become the rim of the 2 accumulations. Accumulation merit, Vajra merit, is completely become rim or the full, and completely actualized. And then he came in this world, born or take the birth in this world purposely in order to help the benefit for all sentient beings. But even though he is in that status, but he did 6-year ascetic practices. 6-year ascetic practices. He left his beautiful, comfortable lives of the kings, life of prince lives, palace, left and went to the jungles with bare feet, one fabric clothes that he picked up from on the side. Many times somebody offered him that, but he's such a beautiful, expensive dress that he gave up and wear that cloth and moving in the jungles with bare feet. That is a big change. What he was and what now he is. Why he did? It is the practice, patient practices for discovery of the innate nature of the enlightenment, for sake of all living beings. After that, he did 6 years ascetic practices in one sitting in the bay of Narinjana rivers, according to the teaching, for 6 years. And there is not much food. Not much food. In the teaching says, first every year or every day, he ate 2 grains of the grains every day for 2 years. And second 2 years, drink drops of the waters. And the last 2 years, even nothing but those things, he continued meditating practices. Because it's the power of the meditation and meditation food, nutrition, he kept alive. But externally looking, he becomes so thin and so feeble and so kind of completely skin and it's almost like skeletons. That we see sometimes the illustration or the stage of the Buddha of the 6 years ascetic practices. That is why he did that, in order to reach enlightenment, in order to benefit for all living beings, in order to discover that enlightenment within, not trying to get up from outside. He saw there is no enlightenment going to come from outside. It's self-discoveries. Because of that, he spent that way. Because his courage and commitment endeavor and passion, then truly he becomes the beacon of the peace and harmonious. Now, and a beacon of the peace and harmony for all living beings, not selected group or human or this and that. The whole living beings. He showed the great torch of light that everyone's true natures. How we all share the same nature, same truth, same. Doesn't matter whether you are animals, whether you are the humans, or whatever the situation, circumstance, physical forms, whatever you have, the basic grown nature is the same. Those are he lightened up that never spoke before. All those teachings. That's what the gracious teacher, Buddha Shakyamuni did. And Guru Sambhava is known as the emanation of the Buddha, emanation of the Buddha Amitabha, the living Buddha Amitabha, and a reincarnation of the Buddha Shakyamuni that we all know. We all heard that, and we read in the books. And it is true. That's what every great master said. And that even that when in his 8 cemeteries, all different cemeteries he practiced and meditated. He received the teachings with joyful, respectfully in a contract with the student or masters, and he received the teachings. Humble and simple, same manner of the teacher and the student level. Even he is already enlightened. But it's all hardship in the dual journey for the spiritual realizations. That's demonstrated for the other, such as us, to practitioners. This is all working for the Dharma. And then such as the great master in Tibet, all those great masters, I mean in India, there's so many numbers, you all know. Even maybe I don't know many of those. And many different, those all great masters, really in the different schools of Buddhism, how much they practice and meditate to reach that realization we honor, we glorify, we cherish. It's not just a came by itself at that moment, in one time. This is the walk of the joy in the loving kindness, compassion, devotion that discovered those realizations. Such all that. And then in Tibet, for example, life story Malarepa. His realization, his hardship, his courage and commitment. That's what really he discovered, that realization. Because of his joyful effort, his passion, that his willingness of to spend time and effort and all that for the Dharma. And went to mountain, cave to caves. Those he named as castles, and all that. He went. And then Great Master Lungchipas in the teachings. Again, same thing. Practice. Even though he is already enlightened, he is highly great, like he is one of the genius person or the scholars, one of the great scholars in all times. And how much he practiced, meditated, how much he really put effort. And that kind of courage and commitment. That shows all this. And then ancient time, those great masters who brought teaching to Tibet, those great translators, such as Vajra Armor, Nampa Nyingpo, all that, they went to India that time. And that ancient time in India, and of course India and Tibet are border countries, but yet every both are kind of quite different. The calamity level is very different. Language is very different. Custom is very different. All that. And it's something in that time, ancient time, going even for the kind of 200 miles away, everyone thinks it's completely kind of alien country. It's completely unknown state. They have those thoughts. But Vajra and all that with greater compassion, greater commitment to bring the Dharma to the Tibet back by the wishes that are caused by the kindness of them. Such all those, they really take the hard journey, the called hard journey, the unknown areas. They went without any maps or without any kind of knowledge too much. And this is, that is not just only in Tibet, also in China, those great masters, particularly that great master, Hun San, that who went to India to try to go, he has determined to bring the Buddhism thought back to China. And who went through the Silk routes that you all know. He wrote beautiful, famous guidebooks of all the way how he went, and he explained every detail, where he stopped, what country, and all that. So beautiful, really so precise, so clear. And he went. And he returned, he brought all those teachings back. He is one of the great translators or masters of the China. So I heard that. I mean, this is just, so many like that. So these all are known as the patient for bringing the Dharma or patient for the practice of Dharma. And increasing realization or practice Dharma. And that we need. We should not always keep Dharma as a kind of almost at the bottom of our list. We try to push that on the front as much as we can. And practice with more practice, more respect, more this important. That. So that is really about the patient for the, in the Tibet, Chusar Kapti Zoba. So, ascetic or practice, patient for the ascetic practice or hard journey of the Dharma practices. Even not is always convenience for the samsara activity kind of not made, but we have to make that one of the priority and a strong practice, which is so important. And the next patient is then patient for the profound meaning of the dharmas. And that is in the Tibet, what is it? Sami Guna Matape Zopa. The patient that not scared with the profound meaning of the teaching of the Buddha. Profound meaning of the Dharma. And not scared. That is patience. So that means your patience, your courage and commitment well connected, maintained with practice, not scared, not become timid and give up. Then if we give up, what is this? We are going to the loser. We're losing our goals and we are losing our promises. We're losing our commitment. When we made commitment, when we took the refuge, we made commitment. We took refuge by thoughtfully and with a clear mind. Nobody forced us, nobody pushed us. And not just only that, we take the bodhicitta vows. Also with thoughtfulness. We said clearly we're going to follow in the footsteps of the Buddha and the few bodhisattvas. But we'll do exactly what you did for benefit of all the sentient beings. And now we are lingering there. That is in the samsara, not in the spiritual. Even in the samsara, when you say something I will do, if you didn't do, that is very fishy, that considered in the samsara too. Fishy and not what they call slickery or something. That is really true. It's not just in the samsara now, but that used to be in ancient time too. All countries. Standing firm with commitment. For that reason, great master Nagarjuna said, the noble person don't make too many commitments. But once they made the commitment, stand firmly with that commitment. As a letter curved in stone, even stone breaks, the lines of letter remains. The same way, that is known as honored ones. Considering any standards is good. So therefore, we should not be scared with teachings. What are the profound meanings? In the Buddha teaching, there's many teachings that didn't mentioned by any other great masters, such as teachings of the interdependent coordinations. Interdependent coordinations. No teachers in this world said that except the Buddha. Interdependent coordination. Tinjeng never Jung. What that means? There is no substantially solid existing anything in the subject level, in the object level. There is no substantial solid existing level, anything. All are formed as cooperatives. What all means? All the particles are formed, like cooperatively connected, cooperatively formed what we see. Reality is a heap of the particles. That even particle itself is a not one solid. It has so many sub-particles. Particles. So for that reason, it is all. Therefore, it's changing. It's changing, such as impermanent. This is what again great teacher Buddha said, impermanent. This is not dogma. This is not just theory. It is. Everything is changing. Because everything is forming. Everything is changing. Everything is transforming. To tell that truly more clearly, what great teacher said, relative truth is all like dream-like, magic-like, bubble-like, reflection moon in the water-like. Not many teachers said before like that. This is all. When we heard that all this dream-like, all this bubble-like, all this reflection-like, all those like image, mirror image-like, and we say that when we heard this, oh, how that comes? I don't, so I can understand that meanings. Then we become immediately kind of timid. Timid. But reality, that is the way. It didn't mean it's not going to function. Everything going to function exactly as it. But it means there's no substantial, solid existence of this relative truth is all like that. And then absolutely what they said is emptiness. Emptiness. There's nothing substantially existing. Emptiness. So prove where this relative arising? Prove that emptiness. And where is the forming is cooperative things. These all are known as profound meanings. Profound meanings of the teachings. Then Buddha told egolessness. It's true. Again. And we think there is something exists in egos. There is no such egos. If we really investigate, analyze with analytical ways, or maybe modern machine in those macroscopic levels too. If we're trying to find anything that ego, it's nothing. Where we hold in the ego, in the teaching always, we hold the ego because of the continuation of those aggregates and as well as there's a combination of the aggregate, then we say, what continuation means? Continued from the time we concepted from the mother's womb and until now, until we die, is continuing something, these aggregates. And then this is not just a one is continuing, it's a combination. All the aggregates, all the pieces, whatever the particle, what we started, limb, hand, finger, and head, and all these things, bone and muscles, it's all cooperated. Each of this will look, it's just all so many things formed. So we kind of, without investigating, analyze, kind of blindly, we're talking, oh, I, or me, like that. Of course, we can name, that is nothing wrong. But there is no substantial, solid existing I or the egos. Standing firmly, solid stones. It's not outside of our body, not inside of the body. Between there is no, it's nothing, really. So those are the profound meaning of the teachings, not scared. Not scared. Then there is a more profound teaching what in Buddha taught, such as in the Vajra teachings. All the 5 aggregates are 5 male Buddhas. And the 5 elements are 5 female Buddhas. We don't see that now, right now. No, but that's the really realities. Buddha said what? Said when we remove, or when we pull out, or when we pull out our cataracts of the dualities, that moment we began to see that everything is in enlightened status. But until that, we won't see. But if we again begin to scale with that, oh, how that can come, how that can be my body, all the aggregates are like Buddhas and all these things. Kind of, we have big notions of the between Buddha and ourselves, such as like and kind of almost like skies and the dome to the earth, attitude, or the blue sky up in these many 100,000 miles away and the dome that. But reality is within all the same. Is only the discovering that. So those are known as profound meanings. Not scared with the profound meaning of the teaching and observing and actualize that. And of course you can investigate, analyze. That great teacher Buddha Shakyamuni himself said, you can investigate, analyze. You should analyze that. You can analyze. Those are studying, analyze, and the meditative practices. So those are known as, very briefly, about the passion for the profound meaning of the dharmas. And that is then the kind of pretty much we covered with the meaning of the patient paramatas, chant paramatas. How to increase the patient paramatam in the teaching said, then to activate it more wishing bodhicitta, pole boundless practices, and do the meditations as much as you can meditate, and at the end do the aspiration and the dedication prayers. Each time when you're able to do the patient practices, as we went those one after another, immediately when you recognize, able to recognize and do the patient practices, that paramata practices, immediately kind of dedicated that merit and wish that to benefit all sentient beings. And also by the blessings of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, may I fulfill the patient paramata practices, completely fulfilled, paramata fulfilled. And whatever the merit is, I dedicated that for all sentient beings. May I become the one of the great, may I become the one of the great bodhisattvas, such as like Manjushri, Vajrapani, Chereze, the Arya Mekira, all those like that bodhisattvas. Really praying those things. Always the teaching said it will increase and reactivate any parameters. Whatever you're praying for that, it will help them. So that is my brief talk for today, and thank you again. Thank you. We completed now the patient paramata practices, which is very tough and very important. It is really like as I said, is backbone of all the paramata practices. Is that. And so thank you again for very much, and then we continue tomorrow. Thank you again for your participation, and again, thank you.
Thank you.